Welcome back to Adanac Accent Coaching. I'm just going to be reading aloud from a short story. I'll do 5 minutes. And when I have time again, I'll read another 5 minutes. This is the story. It's called Riding for Luck by Juliet Kemp. This is one of my favorite stories, so if I get emotional, I apologize in advance. Some days the tarmac unrolls smooth under your wheels, and every light goes green for you. Some days the pedals spin like your legs aren't even trying, smooth like this is what you were built for. Some days you lean around the corner and rise out of the saddle, like God herself is slinging you round. Some days, if you just keep pedaling, there's something just out of reach, something you can nearly catch. And then you brake, and you slow, and you stop. And it's school or work or home, just like usual. The feeling bleeding right on out of you like it was never even there. Was it ever there? The first time I rode into the luck, it was an accident. It was one of those days when everything just goes your way, when the bike feels like part of you and every light goes green and the gaps open up as if by magic. Of course, at the time, I was assuming that it wasn't. Magic, that is. I got all the way from home to Soho without having to put my foot down once. It was glorious. When I stopped, I could feel the fizz in my fingers. I thought it was just pleasure and something satisfying. A sort of achievement of the stars aligning. It never occurred to me that my sense of banked power might be real and not just the rush of self-satisfaction. I was meeting someone, an online hookup, and it went better than any date I'd been on in months. We hit it off like we had chatted online. Chatting online. She laughed at all of my jokes. The whole evening soaked in that joy of feeling, like everything just slides into place. Like you're wholly on form, being who you want to be. A glorious date, and a glorious evening thereafter, as it happens. And I never thought about the matter of the luck. Why would I? The relationship didn't last, though we parted friends. I didn't know then about the luck, but I did remember how that nonstop ride felt. And even though I hadn't realized what it meant, I wanted to repeat that feeling. I started paying attention to traffic light sequences, started looking further ahead to slip past traffic without stopping. And slowly, I began to notice how it felt after a successful run. Something electric slippery that ran over my skin, that sparked in my fingertips after a successful run. Something that led to changes, just tiny ones, in my day. The creaky lift in my current office, being there when I needed it instead of having to wait 5 minutes. Discount brownies at the coffee shop. My phone battery lasting just those couple of minutes that I needed to find out which pub my friends were in. Little things like that felt like luck. Like I could ride myself into luck. Absurd though I told myself that was. And then two, there were the things that weren't exactly luck. Things like someone asking for my pronouns at my next temp job, which never ever happens. Things like being neither sir'd nor madamed at a restaurant. Things I didn't want to think of as luck because they ought to be normal, except for how they're not. Little things that felt like a massive difference. I started to wonder, but it didn't feel like something I could believe in. Not really. I mean, like I say, it was absurd, right? I'd been at it for a couple of months, still not allowing myself to believe in it when I saw Ellen for the first time. She sailed past me when I'd been caught by traffic lights, slowing just enough to stay the right side of the lights until they changed, then accelerating away through the junction. Her pink and black braids were wound up in a loose bun on the back of her head, and her legs, in leggings under a bright blue skirt, were incredible. I try not to be that shallow, but sometimes you just notice, right? And I just upped my dose of tea. These things were on my mind. I tried to catch her, but she went through the next lights just before they turned red, and I wasn't close enough to follow. I watched her zip down the street and I wondered. I saw her again in the same place a couple of days later, but this time I had my timing right too, and we paced each other all the way along the road. Finally, we got stuck behind a lorry and had to stop. She looked over at me, and my fingertips sparked. And we both grinned suddenly, knowing even if I still couldn't quite bring myself to believe it. Okay, that's where we're going to stop for today, and I will read more next time. Thank you for tuning in.